Mr. Ajilo, maybe you should tell Nigerians more about this particular bill. What does it really seek to regulate when it comes to non-governmental organizations?
I mentioned very well. The title of the bill is to regulate NGOs, that's non-governmental organization, and other related, the other related nature of that. But like I mentioned, that people need to read this bill very well. Read the provision one after the other, section by section. I've done that, and I realized that the key section in that bill is section 24. By the time you look at 24, section 24 really cows where those that they are targeted. And like I said, the trade union are not targeted. The human rights activists, they are not targeted. You find that even churches, the religious faith bodies, they are not targeted. But when it comes to bringing release materials, and I'm sure one of the reasons is that you see many people today, they will go outside the country, talk to international agencies, because dollar, by the time you change naira to dollar, you'll be surprised. Dollar to naira, you'll be surprised what will come. They use that to collect the collectively commonwealth of the people, saying they are doing release material, saying some people are dying, and they collect money, and at the end of the day, you find out that they are not using the money for anything. And what the bill seeks to do is, let us regulate whatever they are doing, the activities. If you are collecting it, we need to know how much you are collecting. If and how you are spending, we need to know. And for you to do that, the bills lined up some of the procedure that must be followed. That is what it is. The other trying to blackmail the National Assembly, trying to blackmail the propaganda of that bill, and trying to blackmail the bills, I don't think we need to do that.
Mr. Ajilo, before we come back to the Lagos studio, these donors, they already have their own framework. When they give out monies, they follow it up, they know what the people or the NGOs that it's been given to, they know what they use it for. The donors also register with the National Planning Commission, which already has a documentation as to how much they are given, you know, and things like that. So why do we need to set up another commission to do this?
One thing I want you to know is this. When we talked of issue of jurisdiction, that is where you realize that there is a little, despite the fact that the donor they will have there in their own country, they will have a procedure, they will have a commission to regulate it. But the question is, how do you regulate that in Nigeria? Whatever thing they may regulate, their jurisdiction stop where they are coming from. And I'm even thank you that you mentioned National Population Commission. Section 71 of National Population Commission gives the Population Commission to monitor most of this. But this is basically on the issue of the funds. And the essence is that you know what National Commission does is to really know the inflow of the money that comes to the country so that they can plan. But when it comes to the issue, and let me quickly say this, when you are talking of regulatory law, we are talking of issue of ethics, we are talking of issue of value, different from administrative law. When it comes to administrative, you find out that most of the time it is the legislator that always propose that always bring that to the table. But when it comes to regulatory, you find out that it is the government, that is the executive arm of government, that always do that.
Honorable Benson, Mr. Ajilo mentioned the fact that the laws are, the bill is meant to monitor issues of ethics and accountability. Okay, but before the House of Representatives, it's already a bill being sponsored by Honorable Ochilego Idagbo, which is titled Improved Aid Effectiveness, Accountability and Cooperation for Donor and Recipient Bill. And that bill proposes to harmonize and align all aid delivery to Nigeria, provides for the strengthening of the National Planning Commission, which all NGOs and those donating to them are registered with. So it's back again to what Victoria mentioned, that there are already bills and laws on ground before the House of Representatives, for instance. So why add another one?
No, thank you very much. The bill you're talking about has been stepped down. The reason why we stepped it down is so as to merge everything and turn that bill into a commission. And like I said earlier, a draft bill, a public hearing, requires the stakeholders to come and assist us or tell us what they want to have in the bill. But when they came with the background as if they're fighting a military dictatorship or Abacha.
Is it not possible that they came that way because there was no communication?
Yes, but that is the essence of a public hearing. And I tell you what, if you ask me a question, are you comfortable with all the content of the bill? I would say no. A lot of the people who presented papers said they don't agree with the bill in its entirety, meaning they agree with some clauses in the bill. An example of the clauses, they're asking the applicants that once they're granted a license, the license lasts for 2 years. Do I agree with that? No, I don't. But they need to come and say, no, why don't we amend this and turn it up to 5 years? Nobody is making that argument. They're saying that they're not happy with the one who's granted authority to appoint members into the commission. There's the Mr. President who appoints X number of... Am I happy with that? No. I expect them to say that the appointing authority shall be maybe a world-class consultancy firm. You understand? On approval issues, I expect them to say, once you file your application, if it's not approved within 24 hours, it is deemed approved. I expect them to come with those type of request or argument. But they're saying, no, they don't want the bill. They don't want the bill. They don't want the bill.
Have you also thought about the angle? They said there are many already. Okay, let me put it. They said this way, that they are currently, the checks and balances that are being provided, that are proposed in that bill, are currently available in different dimensions by government and funding partners. Do you agree with that?
I don't. And that is why people talk about one-stop shops. The EFCC shouldn't exist then. The NIPC, that is bringing so much investments into Nigeria, shouldn't exist. The Charities Commission in the UK shouldn't exist because they also have those laws. Best practice dictates that you should have a regulatory authority or commission that keeps them in check. In check, not to silence them, yes, but to encourage more donors to have confidence in sending money to them. I tell you what, our infrastructural gap in Nigeria is so huge that we need partners to come and assist us. So we shouldn't stifle those partners. We should have a handshake agreement or a conversation with them on how we can assist them. A bill comes in many forms. It could be harsh, but I've been at public hearing where a bill is killed, where a bill is withdrawn, or where a bill is amended appropriately. So it is that amendment we wanted to do with them. And like I said earlier, they have the resource. They have tremendous resource at their disposal because there are 8 partners, there's DFID, there's all those people who we can sit down with and have a fantastic, world-class, best-class regulatory document to work with.